Hello out there. Dental Planet, Dental Globe, Dental Universe. Marc Wagner here, your host of DentalBytes. And I wanted to take a little bit of time today to zoom out because honestly, after doing this show for the better part of 5 years, after sitting down with clinicians, business owners, educators, labs, technology providers, consultants, distributors, and all sorts of great humans in this industry, I think there is a bigger story starting to reveal itself. And it is not just a story about technology. It is not just a story about AI. It is not just a story about scanners, software, labs, implants, orthodontics, diagnostics, marketing, or practice growth. It is a story about people. That is really what DentalBytes has become for me. It is this ongoing snapshot of an industry that is evolving at a ridiculous pace. But at the center of all of it still are people. The dentist trying to run a practice, the assistant trying to keep the day moving, the hygienist trying to educate the patient, the lab technician trying to deliver something beautiful and functional, the business owner trying to keep the lights on, the patient sitting in the chair trying to understand what is going on in their own mouth. And then somewhere in the middle of that chaos, you have people like me sitting in a room with microphones, cameras, and probably too many cables, trying to make sense of it all. And I love it. I genuinely love it. Over the last few episodes, there has been this really interesting thread running through the conversations. Whether I was speaking with Dr. Amrish Khanna, Josh from DiagnoCat, Robert Hawkins from Aurum, or even just sitting here doing a solo episode and rambling into the void, lovingly, of course, the same themes kept coming up. Technology is here. AI is here. Digital dentistry is here. The question is not really whether we like it or not anymore. The question is, how are we going to use it well? Because that is the part that matters. With Amrish, what stood out to me was the entrepreneurial side of dentistry. Here is someone who has lived the clinical side, the practice ownership side, the education side, the business side, and now the AI and technology side. And what I really appreciated in that conversation was that he did not frame technology as some shiny object that magically solves everything. It still comes back to education. It still comes back to implementation. It still comes back to mentorship. It still comes back to being humble enough to say, I do not know everything, and I need good people around me. And that is such a powerful lesson in this industry because dentistry is hard. It is really hard. You are expected to be a clinician, a leader, a business owner, a therapist some days, a firefighter most days, a marketer, a financial planner, an HR department, and somehow still have enough energy left to be a human being when you get home. So when we talk about AI or software or new technology, I do not look at it as replacing the human side of dentistry. I look at it as potentially giving some breathing room back to the people who are carrying an unbelievable amount of weight. If a tool can help you see something more clearly, communicate something more effectively, manage a workflow better, or reduce some of that mental load, that is worth paying attention to. And with Josh, that conversation went right into the heart of AI. Not AI as this abstract, futuristic, scary thing. AI as a practical tool. AI helping with diagnostics. AI helping with image analysis. AI helping a patient understand what they are looking at. AI helping a practitioner confirm what they already know or maybe catch something they may not have seen as clearly on a busy day. And that is a big point. The best clinicians are not threatened by tools that help them. The best clinicians use tools to become more consistent, more efficient, and more effective. That was one of the biggest takeaways from the DiagnoCat conversation. It is not about saying the software replaces the dentist. It is about saying, here is another layer. Here is another set of eyes. Here is a way to take a grayscale image that means very little to most patients and turn it into something visual, understandable, and educational, because patients are visual. Most people do not look at a radiograph and go, yes, I clearly understand the clinical concern there. They look at it and see 50 shades of dental confusion. So when technology can help colorize, highlight, explain, or support the conversation, that is not just a case acceptance tool. That is a communication tool. That is a trust tool. That is a patient education tool. And trust is everything. Then with Robert and Orem, the conversation shifted into the lab world. And I think that perspective is so important because the lab industry is going through its own transformation. Chairside milling, intraoral scanners, 3D printing, digital workflows, all of it is changing the relationship between clinic and lab. But what Robert made very clear, and what I really believe as well, is that the best labs are not sitting there trying to fight the future. They are adapting to it. There is no point pretending chairside technology does not exist. There is no point pretending dentists are not bringing more workflows in-house. It is happening. The real question becomes, where does the lab bring the most value? And the answer is still in expertise. It is in communication. It is in full arch work. It is in aesthetics. It is in occlusion. It is in those complex cases where the difference between average and excellent is not just a machine. It is knowledge. It is experience. It is a team of people who understand function, beauty, materials, technology, and the clinical realities on the other side. And I love that idea of the lab not just being a vendor, but being a solutions partner. And that is where I think the industry is going. The best relationships in dentistry are not transactional. They are collaborative. The best reps, the best labs, the best educators, the best consultants, the best technology partners, they are not just trying to sell something and disappear. They are trying to help practices do better work, serve patients better, and build systems that actually make sense. And that brings me to the bigger DentalBytes takeaway. After all these conversations, the practices and people that seem to be thriving are not necessarily the ones who buy every piece of technology the second it comes out. That is not the point. The ones that seem to thrive are the ones who stay curious. They ask questions. They try things. They educate themselves. They surround themselves with good people. They do not isolate themselves in their own little box and pretend the industry is not changing, because it is changing fast. We have practices still running on paper charts and systems that have worked for decades. And you know what? In some cases, those systems still work for them. Then we have fully digital practices where the scanner, CBCT, practice management software, AI diagnostics, lab portal, marketing funnel, online booking, and patient communication systems are all working together. And then there is everything in between. That is the real world of dentistry right now. It is not one size fits all. But I do think there is a responsibility to at least understand what is available. You do not have to adopt to everything. You do not have to be the earliest adopter in the room. But you should not be willfully blind to what is happening, because the industry is not going to slow down and wait for everybody to feel comfortable. And that is not meant to sound harsh. It is just reality. AI is not coming. AI is here. Digital workflows are not coming. They are here. Patient expectations are changing. Practice economics are changing. Staffing challenges are real. Burnout is real. The cost of running a practice is real. The need for better systems is real. And that is why I keep coming back to this idea. Technology should not remove humanity from dentistry. It should create more room for it. That is the goal. If AI can help with diagnostics, great. If AI can help write better notes, great. If AI can help a patient understand treatment, great. If digital scanning can make a workflow cleaner, great. If a lab can help a practice unlock new services with technology they already own, great. If a marketing platform can help a patient find the right practice at the right time, great. But none of it matters if we lose the human connection, because dentistry is still deeply human. People are nervous. People are embarrassed. People are overwhelmed. People are busy. People have budgets. People have fears. People have past experiences that shape how they walk into the dental chair. And on the provider side, dentists and teams are human too. They are tired. They are juggling schedules. They are dealing with staffing. They are dealing with rising costs. They are trying to do right by patients while also running a business. So when I look at this industry, I do not see just products and services. I see a massive web of people trying to solve problems. And that is why I love doing this podcast. DentalBytes has given me a front row seat to the people building the future of dentistry. Some are clinicians, some are educators, some are lab leaders, some are technology providers, some are marketers, some are quiet, behind the scenes operators who never get enough credit. But they all play a part. And after doing this for years now, I think one of the biggest lessons I have learned is that nobody moves this industry forward alone. The successful people collaborate. They ask for help. They mentor. They teach. They learn. They adapt. They bring in partners who know things they do not know. That is not weakness. That is intelligence. And honestly, that is probably the biggest message I would leave with anyone listening. Do not be afraid of the future of dentistry. Be curious about it. You do not need to know everything today. You do not need to overhaul your entire practice tomorrow. But start somewhere. Book the demo. Ask the question. Talk to the lab. Talk to the educator. Talk to the rep who actually knows what they are talking about. Try the software. Play with ChatGPT. Look at your workflows. Look at your patient experience. Look at your communication. Look at where your team is wasting time. Look at where your patients are confused. Look at where your systems are creating friction, because that is where the opportunity is. The future of dentistry is not just about having more technology. It is about using better tools to create better outcomes, better conversations, better businesses, and hopefully better lives for the people inside this industry. And maybe that sounds a little big and philosophical for a dental podcast, but anyone who has listened to this show knows that is where I usually end up anyway. We start with a scanner and somehow end up talking about the meaning of life. That is the DentalBytes guarantee. But truly, I am grateful. I am grateful for the guests who come on and share what they know. I am grateful for the people who listen. I am grateful for the practices, labs, companies, and teams trying to do things better. And I am grateful to be a small part of this industry. Dentistry is evolving, and it is evolving quickly. But if we keep the patient at the center, if we keep education at the center, if we keep collaboration at the center, and if we remember that behind every piece of technology is still a human being trying to do better work, then I think we are heading in a pretty exciting direction. So keep learning, keep asking questions, keep breathing, unclench those jaws, and remember, we are all in this dental industry battle together. This has been Marc Wagner with DentalBytes. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.